Good afternoon, Kitchissippi. It is March the 12th. This is the video version of the 43rd Kitchissippi Newsletter. Relatively short one for you this week, just a few items to chat about. First, I do want to remind everyone in Kitchissippi you're invited to my campfire tomorrow at 5:30 at Winston Square. That's the urban park that is next to the Legion. I'm hosting a campfire. We've got our burn permit. We're going to have some marshmallows. Please bring your own sticks, s'mores, and hot chocolate. Come on out. Should be an informal evening with your neighbors. The first substantive item in the newsletter this week deals with 900 Albert. I was at an open house this week hosted by Trinity Developments. 900 Albert Street is across from the new Bayview Station, just over the tracks in Somerset Ward. Trinity owns that property. It's next to City Centre, and they've made a proposal for at least 3 very tall towers to go in there, mostly rental with some larger format retail in the base podium. They are also negotiating with the city for the air rights that go over to the O train. If they get those, they're contemplating putting in a 4th tower, or there's a potential they are pitching that as a location for a new central library. Now, if they do put the library over the O train tracks, they've proposed an access road that would go through the Tom Brown Arena property. That's a non-starter as far as I'm concerned. We're still pre-application, and you can take a look at all the plans. The developer has put up a fairly comprehensive website with site plan, planning rationale, parking, etc. You can find that at 900albert.com. The link is in the newsletter. Also this week, an important piece for folks in Mechanicsville. I've been getting more and more calls about the John Howard Society's proposal for transitional housing at 5559 Carruthers Avenue. We've put up a FAQ. There is some misperception out there that the facility is going to be for offenders. It's not. It's part of the city and the provincial and federal affordable housing initiative to house people who either are or who are at risk of becoming chronically homeless. There's a whole series of questions that we've put online. You'll find the link on the newsletter. Also this week, unfortunately, John Howard was moving ahead with some pre-demolition work without our knowledge. They wound up having to take down the porch without a demolition permit. My office and the city have both been in touch with John Howard to ensure that they follow proper procedure moving forward. Also in the newsletter this week, Byron traffic calming. There was a meeting the week before last of what they call the Public Advisory Committee. That's a group that I suggested of local community leaders, community associations, Ecology Ottawa, some of the folks who are interested in traffic calming issues, to talk about traffic calming from Golden to Island Park. They've gotten a good overview of what that process is going to be. The city is suggesting some new cycling infrastructure as well. The one that's capturing people's attention are cycling advisory lanes. You can see more information about all that in the newsletter. I've put up the city's presentation on a link there. That's going to be a process that goes through all summer. There will be a larger public consultation coming up in a couple of months. There's a survey online right now that the city is asking people to fill out. All the links, of course, are in the newsletter. My next pop-up office is going to be on March the 24th from 1 until 4 at Simply Biscotti. I had a great pop-up yesterday at Mostly Danish Furniture, some of the most comfortable seating I've had for any of my pop-ups yet. Hopefully on March the 24th, we'll see you out to that pop-up at Simply Biscotti that is in Westboro. One of the big pieces this week, I'm standing on Spencer Street. Spencer Street is slated for a major rehabilitation. They'll dig the whole street up and replace the water and sewer this summer. It'll last the whole construction season, and as usual, there'll probably be a final lift of the asphalt next year. We're taking a look at it as a community as an opportunity to put in place some traffic calming. Right now, the city is looking at it as a straight rehab. I and the Wellington Village Community Association, as well as residents in the area, are looking for some traffic calming. The city has proposed a few intersection narrowings, but we'd like to see more raised intersections. There is a very good possibility that we will get speed humps in as part of the work, and we are also asking for cycling infrastructure. Thus far, the city has been reticent to put that in. A street that has the kinds of volumes that Spencer has is generally, under our policies, considered to be a shared use street and not a candidate for segregated cycling infrastructure, but we're not going to redo this street again for probably another 40 or 50 years. I think the opportunity is now to get segregated cycling infrastructure on this street. It is going to be an uphill battle, and I'll be asking residents for their help as we start talking to the city about that more over the next couple of weeks. Take a look at the newsletter for some more details. Also, if I can remind people that the Rosemount Library consultations that are going to be co-hosted by both myself and the Rosemount Expansion and Development Group, the READ Group, are starting soon. On Saturday, March the 19th, we're going to have a daytime consultation, followed by an evening consultation the following Tuesday. I'm trying to arrange some childcare. That's looking encouraging so that everyone can participate. Take a look at the newsletter for more details on how you can participate in that consultation. We're seeking ideas about how programming can be improved there, as well as creative ideas for trying to expand the space. Also, in the newsletter this week, links to the wastewater stormwater rate review. Some residents will remember I wrote a paper, or I had a paper commissioned on this last November, taking a look at how we can charge for water. Right now, water consumption is falling, and it's falling fairly rapidly as a result of conservation measures. That means that the revenues are not coming in to keep up with the necessary capital improvements, the capital maintenance of our water and stormwater system. The city has a number of proposals to make with respect to how we can ensure more predictable revenues coming in to make sure that we are keeping up with the maintenance on our water system. Also this week in the newsletter, minimum parking requirements. The city has made its final proposals for new minimum parking rules. These would see, especially along the traditional Main Street, far less parking required of new developments, but also in the areas in behind in the residential neighborhoods as well. There are still going to be requirements for things like visitor parking, but where developers want to build without building parking in, they'll have new flexibility. Take a look at the newsletter, follow the link. There are consultations. This is the last opportunity to make a comment on those. Also, I want to alert people that on March the 30th, we do have the last open house for the Kitchissippi parking strategy. That's something we've been talking about as a community for close to a year now. How can we deal with parking? Is there enough of it in Kitchissippi? Can we create more? How can we try to satisfy some of the resident and merchant demand for parking? Open house coming up on March the 30th. Take a look at the data and some of the city's recommendations coming out of that study. And then finally, in terms of the week ahead at City Hall, it's March break. We don't have any committee or council meetings. Council will next meet on March the 23rd. That should be an interesting meeting when that comes up. My colleague, Councillor Riley Brockington, has proposed that council ask the province for the ability to use photo radar to control speeding, particularly in our residential neighborhoods where there is that high speed, high volume cut through traffic. This is going to be a controversial one. I am supporting Councillor Brockington's request that we ask the province for the ability to implement photo radar. We will never have enough police resources to enforce to the degree necessary to change behavior, and I believe that we need more passive tools. Other than that, fairly light week, resident meetings, meetings with staff on various different issues. I should be in the office most of the week if you want to get a hold of me. That is it for the Kitchissippi Newsletter number 43. Again, if you have any questions, comments, or concern, I'm always happy to field those by email. Hope everyone has a wonderful March break if you are doing anything, and make sure that it's a safe one. Thanks, and have a great afternoon.